This video is about my adventure with a 3D compressor. Where I work, you know, they just tell you, go learn how to do this stuff and figure it out, because that's the best you're going to get. Now, keep in mind, this is the first 3D compressor that I've ever done myself. So I'm going to sound pretty stupid, I'm sure, to a lot of you who have done this before and have more experience with it. But that's okay. Just kind of bear with me as I kind of go through the video and show you guys what I did and like the way I did it. I did have somebody helping me out the first day, but he also had never done one of these by himself. He was kind of like looking at me for guidance on it. So, well, okay. I scheduled a crane to come out there and park behind receiving, and he was set up perfectly to drop the compressor right there behind it. It was a perfect little drop. All these other pictures I took and I used for reference, you know, because doing the old one to the new one. What's interesting though is that my old compressor was a 3DK3R, and they stuck me with a 3DFDR. Now I realized this made a huge difference. Biggest one is that this was a digital compressor, a digital 3D discus, and it has a digital unloader. And of course, me not knowing anything about this, I was unaware, so I didn't have the parts I needed to finish. So here's a compressor change out I was working on. Everything is done on it pretty much. We had the crane bring it in. You know, it was a nice ordeal. The crane lifted it right up out of where it sat and set the new one in place. It was a good deal. So here we got a high pressure switch. We got two low pressure controls there. One of them is, of course, I think for the cycling of the unit. The other one is going to be for the unloader that was on the other compressor. This one has a digital unloader. It's a little different, so I've got to incorporate that into this install, get all this wired back up, still pull a vacuum on it. I also replaced this coil not long ago. I don't know if y'all remember. It looks like the weather's not going to cooperate with me much today, but it's kind of spotty, so hopefully I can get it done. The problem I had on the last trip and why I couldn't finish it was because this solenoid for the old unloader is too big. It's different. It's completely different. It's not the same kind. So I had to find the right kind from Copeland, which is this one. So it's for 3D discus unloaders, and yeah, that's nice. That's the one. Looks like it just slides right in there like that, and then this thing protects the wiring. So that's nice. I got all my wiring done. Ran some new wire here because that old one was pretty bad, and then also ran a new wire for my solenoid coil, modulating coil. So I had to trace everything out here to figure out which wires were which, and I've kind of learned how the circuit works a little better, so that's good. The only thing I'm questioning is I've got power coming into my Sensetronic right here, into my brown wire. I got it coming through this, and I'm not sure if that's correct. I can't find the right relays. I mean, I can't find the right wiring diagram online to show me exactly what I've got here, but you know, trial and error. So I'm gonna start it up. Once I start it up, I'll be able to see, you know, if we have to have current going. I know we gotta have current going through this for it to close. Oh, that's nice. And that's got to close before the oil thing comes on. So like I said, I'll check it out. A little bit of trial and error. And then if worse comes to worse, I'll just put a wire nut on them too. So I was going to put the cover on this, but I didn't want to cover it up without showing you guys. All right, so that's how all that looks before I close it up. So again, this is my low pressure control, which right now I think it should be closed, and it's actually not closed. See, because we got 0 PSI in it, so son of a bitch should be closed. Anyways, once I get it going, we'll know. We'll see a little bit more. But anyways, that's going to be that. All right, so I'm finishing up here, getting it all done. Seeing if I can get me a good vacuum going. Well, it's almost time, so I'm pulling a vacuum down on it. I got this mounted and secured. It should have been secured. There, secured. I'm thinking that this might not work, but we're going to see here in a minute. I made sure that the wiring for all this is right. Found out that power, the signal, comes through here from this yellow wire, goes from the yellow wire comes in here, and first goes to the low pressure control, comes out of the low pressure control, then goes into the high pressure control, comes out of the high pressure control, and goes back to the contactor at that point. And I believe it's going the other direction. Power's coming in orange and back through the yellow, and that's how we're feeding the contactor, so I guess. But it's something like that. Even if what I said is wrong, it's something like that. Now, sometimes I've heard people talk about that something could be in here. If nobody ever takes the dryer out of here, then you have some real problems that are hard to diagnose. It's pretty interesting. It might even be worth opening the damn thing up to see, because who knows. All right, so it really is not going to go much lower than 854 for some reason. Now I pressurized it with some refrigerant, and I leak searched, and I found with some bubbles, I found that this wasn't tight, so I tightened that up, but I got no bubbles anywhere. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna probably pressurize it, and yeah, I'm gonna pressurize it, and then once it's got pressure in it, high pressure, I'll search again. But so I'm gonna close this off, close my vacuum off, make sure both sides are closed off. All right, shut that down. So I mean, it seems to hold pretty good. You know, it shows lower microns when it's holding like that than it does when it's running. That don't make no damn sense to me. All right, so I want to break my vacuum. So there's pressure in the rest of the lines, the rest of the system. What's cool about these 3D discus compressors is you can just isolate them at these valves, and yeah, it's cool because refrigerant can stay in the system. Unfortunately, this is lying to me because it's under vacuum. There. Now that's where we're at. I got it all the way. Now once it's all the way, I want to crack it just a little bit so that I can measure. Looks like the valves are holding pretty good. I also have one valve right there that I need to open. We're gonna do a bump test now, and we're gonna check the rotation and see if the compressor high voltage lines are connected in the correct phase. So I think we're good. All the valves are open, everything's wired in. It may even be good to you know, start up. I'm not sure. Let's see. So we want to hear normal sound from that compressor. We want to see discharge pressure go up, suction pressure go down, and amps that are normal and under, well under 48. Okay, bump test. Hey, we got it. It's going the right direction. Okay. Well, that's that. It just came on all by itself, and we're cycling off of low pressure. So we need to get some refrigerant. I think it's going to work. All right, off we go. So I'm actually going to monitor the liquid instead of the discharge, and I'm going to read subcool, so that I kind of have a little bit more of a precise understanding of how much refrigerant is needed, how much I need to put in, and where I'm at. Granted, I do have a sight glass somewhere over there. Yep, right there. Alright, it took about 50 pounds, and this jug's empty now. I think it's looking pretty good. Uh-huh.